Mm-hmm.
Why not make an impression?
Hell yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Thanks for meeting us, dude. I hope it's cool that we do the interview soonish.
Yeah.
Did you park back here?
No, I took the taxi.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on, yeah.
Well,
So you've never done this particular group's
No,
stuff before?
not
Interesting.
really.
Yeah, and you said you found it on Instagram,
Yes.
basically? Yeah. Nice.
Interesting, ain't it? How these little things just fall in your face or your lap, all of a sudden like that. It's almost like I don't want to say it's like a calling from the universe.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just my calling.
Yeah. How long have you been doing readings and stuff?
No, I've never done readings like that.
Oh,
I've
this
only
is your
read,
first.
If the only thing I've read a few stuff to my cats and stuff like that. But
Nice.
other than that, I've never read in front of a public audience.
Cool.
So it's going to be quite a pip, I'll be frank with you.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. And
Yeah.
first of many,
Oh.
you know.
Oh, and I forgot, here you go.
Oh, lovely.
One for you.
Thank you.
One for you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, your art is awesome. I definitely was struck by how you do it, how you post it. So
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Yeah. This is great. How long have you been doing art? Let me see yours.
Well, quite a while. Well,
Love it.
professionally, I've never done it professionally, but on the side, I've done it since 2019. Since
Wow.
2019, and I've made almost like 200 of them, at least 300. I want to say 300 physical, and
let's watch out.
at least
Oh, yeah.
1,000
Cool.
digitally.
Oh, yeah, because, you do both digital and,
Yes.
yeah. And just, kind of on the back of boxes,
Yes.
that's what they say, you don't need fancy supplies to be an artist, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And besides the Joanne's, I live on the same street, and it's an hour walk. But I like walking, or either take the bus. But I walk all the way from 182nd, go to Hawthorne Boulevard, make a turn to Hawthorne Boulevard, go to Delamo. Delamo, they have the Joanne's. The Joanne's, the canvas they sell are about like $20 a pop, at least more.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought if that's the case, then I'll just do it on the cereal box.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
And why not? No, they look good. Is this Shrek inspired at all, or is No.
Probably.
yeah?
Probably.
I like it.
I just like the face, so it was quite a graphic face, so I thought I'd replicate the face and put my own spin on it, and whatever my thoughts or whatever my psyche inside my brain, whatever it is, gives. Basically, it's like a language. One language, we talk together, here, there, everywhere, and so whatever it communicates to me,
You just try to be direct, that's your
be frank.
artistic
yes.
method. Yeah, nice.
Cool.
It's funny. I used to paint a bit and I stopped, but I kind of want to start again. I recently. That's the year
now?
quick. Yeah, I guess I just got busy.
Burnt out.
Yeah, burn out on work. Maybe trying too hard for thinking all art had to be for an end, to get an audience or something. Just kind of losing the fundamental joy of just painting stuff. Yeah.
Well,
Artistic smash, just doing it just for you only. I don't know, it's quite intimate in a way like that.
Yeah.
true. Well, I don't want to have you late for your sign up if you haven't already
They
signed
start
up.
at 6:30, so I have to
I think
wait
we have a
till
minute.
6:30.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
go sit somewhere. I started recording a second ago. I hope that's
Oh,
okay for the
that's
pod.
okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I figured we'd be getting right into it, so I didn't want to
Here, I'll
break the flow. Yeah.
No problem.
What you can do an intro. I was just gonna ask what other than cereal boxes, as we said. What by the way, Honey Bunches of Oats is a great choice.
That's something.
Yeah, but what is this with? Painted with oil paints or no? Crayons?
No, I use the pen, the ink pen,
Yeah.
the Crayola marker, the Sharpie, lots of permanent markers. With that one, the Sharpie and the Crayola pencil, I just expand what I got. It's not really that much what I have. I don't have the oils, I don't have the acrylics.
Yeah.
So I just use a bunch of because I have a box full of crayons and pencils and markers. So why not use it like that
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
as my instrument?
Yeah. I love the eyes on this one. But anyway, I'll post both of these with the episode.
Yeah, the eyes are great. On what would you call this one?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Well, to be frank, I don't have a title for it, but this is just a disquieted man. A very disquieted man. No title. It speaks for itself. You can tell it from the facial features and the graphic lining. It's sad looking.
Yeah.
Almost tired.
Yeah.
It is. And this other guy, how would you? I guess he looks. Yeah. Also, like he a little upset, but there's lots of aura emanating from his belly and his head.
Well, this fella I wanted to. Well, so I put Shrek, the face, and the body of a man, middle-aged man, of course, and put it together. And what I got all together was a perverted man.
Yeah, he's like lumpy. I do get that kind of vibe. Lots of dots on him.
I like how I just noticed this sort of on a second look, how he, like his aura, I guess you could say, is two circles, like the head and the belly.
Oh, I do a lot of those.
Yeah.
I tried to mix the colors together to see what it gives me. It's fascinating that way. Just circling around like it's a tunnel. You see the light and then the darkness. It just illuminates from the center. And I wanted to do that. I want to capture the end, I guess, in a way, the light.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, for real. And not only do you draw, but you also write. Can I ask maybe what you're going to be reading tonight? Are you allowed to give me an insight, perhaps?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything like that. I want to read it right in front. But this, I mean, if y'all worked at an office building or a level entry job, you always had that one associate, that one coworker who always were mad or just disquieted or just even mean looking. And so this person, Lester, I wrote him, and this was a couple of years ago. So I was at the Travelodge. My house was being fumigated at the time, so it was a 3-day vacation. And I was so bored out of my mind, I just was right in that room listening to the awful silence in the dark with the shades open here and there. So you can see it's almost like a noirish kind of, setting in a way. And so all of a sudden that figure by the door, because I painted a picture at the time, I thought, why not capture that moment right there? Lester, that's his name. And so Lester...
We have a fire truck coming through, so we're going to get out of the way of this fire truck. We're in an alleyway, hanging out with Mr. Omar King, author, artist. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're an author and you're an artist. Yeah.
From Gardena, California.
Gardena, California. Jack of all trades. Ain't that something? I've been called a Renaissance man. I wouldn't say genius, because I'll be frank, sometimes I do stupid things. But I got my common sense. I got my brain, my knowledge enough, and just put them all together, what I learned enough, and implement it on whatever I'm doing. If it's at work, hell, if it's cooking, if it's just writing too, use what you know. But be frank, because sometimes you can always tell somebody was being very fake. I wanted to use another word, but it didn't come to mind, but basically fake. Now, a lot of people can be that way, but for me, I have to be frank, I have to be honest, I have to be direct, I have to mean what I say, mean exactly what I say, and go on and command. Other than that, you'll have nothing at all.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm sure Matt feels the same way too, wouldn't you say?
I do. It's an aspiration I aspire to, for sure. I mean, it sounds like, I don't know, you find it comes very naturally to just always be frank in all things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It didn't come easy. I'll be frank with you. It didn't come easy, but it took a lot of practice, a lot of studying the facial features, studying the people, studying the environment, studying just even words. I didn't know how to write just compose a sentence or two like that, but what I did was reading. Reading did good for me. It was my way of communicating. I went from Gardena High School, and at the time I remember I didn't want to read. I was lukewarm to it. I said, who reads? I mean, really? I mean, who breaks their head and just reads? And I had a teacher, a few of my teachers just gave me an inspiration to inspire me to read, you know. Where if you don't read, how would you read important papers like law papers or contracts and stuff like that? It's important for you to read so you have an understanding of what you're getting yourself into. So I'm glad they gave me that push, because without that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be writing this, even though it's a little faded here and there because of the stupid printer. But, I can manage to read through it, less stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And yeah, we wouldn't have met if we wouldn't have met at a Car Crash Collective.
With Monty Bar.
Yeah, the Monty Bar has got some occult vibes. How did you find out about Car Crash Collective?
Oh, how did I find about that? That's interesting. Just like the Yellow Pages. You go through all these little posters they got posting. Poster, basically. You put those two together. I thought, that would be something fun to do. And so I remember I communicated to one of them, I think, just the main one, the Car Crash Collective. And I just communicated and just, I was I should say I went bonkers when it comes to messaging, because, I like to talk. I'm a blabbermouth by default. I apologize, but I just love talking. I love just sharing things and stuff like that, and I just can't help myself. I like the interaction of it all. It just fills my world. I don't hardly talk to a lot of people. My family here and there, and just associates at work and stuff like that, but that's basically, it's just lukewarm. It's all, how can I put it? It's all one-sided conversation, which I understand. But this one, when I just communicate with people and I communicate with them, it was intellectually stimulating.
Yeah, we feel the same way. That's why we love talking to intellectually stimulating people like yourself.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And
that's what this podcast is about. We all have our daily lives, but it's similar to what you're saying. You find your people online sometimes, and you end up talking to them a lot, and that's day-to-day conversation is great too, but intellectually stimulating conversation you sometimes got to go out of your way for.
I wanted to ask Omar about your Instagram handle, AHS in the Black Lodge. What does that mean?
You mean American Horror Story and the Black Lodge? Well, I love those two shows, American Horror Story and Twin Peaks. I'm a diehard of those two, so I put the two together. Say American Horror Story and the Black Lodge is just my thing, and it's basically a digital scrapbook of just movies, art, random pictures, sometimes obscure photos too here and there, movies. Sometimes I post little movies here and there because I enjoy sharing that, and I enjoy watching it, and I just spew my heart out in the whatchamacallit, the comments and stuff like that. So it's become like my scrapbook.
Yeah.
It's basically a schizophrenic scrapbook, I wanted to say.
Oh, aren't we all a little bit?
Those are the best social media accounts, I find. Yeah.
And are you writing anything like long-term, right? Like a longer piece of work, like a book or anything that?
I've written one, actually, a manuscript. That was a couple months ago. That I submitted that one manuscript to a publishing house. I don't want to name the publishing house at the time, because what if they just reject it, because I haven't heard from them. And then recently submitted that same manuscript to another one, and they were frank with me, told me that it's going to take for them to read it a while for them
Right,
to read it.
right.
So I'm going to have to wait. So while I'm waiting, I figured while I'm waiting for all that to blow over, might as well write my second book. So that's what I'm doing on the side, writing a second book. I don't want to give out the details of what's it about because, well, what if I lose interest and then all of a sudden
Oh yeah.
I'm saying all this and then they expect that book. So I'm just writing it down, see what it goes, and it's become quite an interesting homework, just the dialogues here and there. Sometimes I try to take the quotation marks every now and then and just put all the dialogue in together into one paragraph or put one dialogue after another. I don't know if you've read any form of writing like that, but one in particular that I just learned from was Hubert Selby Jr., who wrote
Right.
Requiem for a Dream
Yeah.
and Last Exit to Brooklyn. Now that just opened my imagination that you can write like that, you know. So it didn't have to be conventional, and I didn't have to be rigid with the writing. Even though I may look rigid, I may sound rigid, and may look rigid and whatnot, but I have to be free flowing, and same with the writing. I have to be free flowing and frank.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Hubert Selby,
Yeah.
and you mentioned reading and being pushed to read
Yeah.
in high school. Anyone else besides Hubert Selby that you maybe clicked with early as a reader, or just in general?
James Baldwin. If Beale Street Could Talk, I remember that book like a heartbeat. I remember the page number, page 13 to 17. If you go and read page 13 to 17, it's quite a very graphic scene. Same time, a little, I want to say, absurd, obscene, bizarre, quite explicit. I'll be frank with you. Some of the things that I read there, God, but it just, I don't know, it made me laugh because I'd never read it writing like that. So it just, made me laugh a little like that.
Was that like high school era you came across Baldwin? Yeah.
And then I read Stephen King Misery, and I didn't get to finish that one. I'm sorry I didn't get to finish,
Kinda
but
long, yeah.
it was kind of long, and the due date, they expect you to give it in a couple weeks, so it didn't give me enough time to finish the whole book. But man, that too, what a read too. It just filled my world. And then it all expanded after that. I read Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I read 1984 by George Orwell. I read Confederacy of Dunces.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That one's my favorite. I read that in just a couple months, and that was it. And then I recently read Christopher Zeitzig, Creation, and then his other book, The Magician. And he's a great person, great guy, very great correspondent. I met him on the night of his book lunch party, Creation. That was, I think it was in Highland Park, and it was March 8th on a Friday, and it was quite the experience, I'll be frank with you. Small little gathering, but very meaningful. At the end, I remember he gave me a hug, and I was taken aback. I was surprised because, I never had anybody hug me that way, but the embrace was that they were so happy. He was so happy to see me like that. And even though I haven't, it's a long story, I don't want to bombard the audience with this long but frank, funny story. But I'll try to keep it short. So what happened was, I didn't know he used to do the pornos and stuff like that. You know who Christopher Zeitzig is?
I actually don't.
I do. Yeah.
His alias or adult movie name is Danny Wilde.
Oh
So,
yeah.
okay.
That's like, yeah. Go on.
So I didn't know. I thought at the time Danny Wilde was just his like pen name, alias name. Those kinds of things. And I just didn't have an understanding who he was entirely like that. So fast forward later, I just came out of my psychology 1 class, went down for luncheon, and I had me a sandwich. I was so happy and stuff like that because I was going to a party for this writer. I couldn't pronounce his name, Christopher Seischig. At the time it was Chris Z or something like that. So Danny Wilde was easy to say, and I thought it was his pen name. So an associate came by and looked at me all looking giddy and whatnot. Why you look so happy and stuff like that? I'm just going to a party, a book lunch party. May I ask who for? Well, Danny Wilde. I couldn't pronounce, Danny Wilde. Danny Wilde. And so that person had the face of, they knew something that I didn't. Now that kind of threw me off a little because they already knew what I said. Danny Wilde, huh? Yes, Danny Wilde. Do you know who he is? Not really. I don't even know who the guy is. Well, you're gonna wait to see who he is. Sorry, you're gonna wait to see. So what happened? This person pulled their cellular phone, went on the Google, typed the porno hub, and wrote the Danny Wilde and played a footage. So it was a video of Danny Wilde, Chris, having this lustrous relations with this woman on a mattress while I was eating a sandwich. And I had to, I didn't want to be, to me it was quite disrespectful because I didn't know the guy and I'm already knowing him already naked like that. So I pushed the phone away. I told him, listen, I don't want to see that. And I certainly don't want to see somebody eating this gal out while I'm eating a sandwich. I mean, it's just unsafe. And so fast forward to the party. I went with Stephen and Sebastian, another associate from work. They come with me, and there comes Danny Wilde or Christopher Seischig. See, I was so nervous. I was filled with anxiety and just things like that. I approach him. He asks who. He says my name. And I said, out of sheer nervousness, I said, Danny Wilde. And I just felt, not mentally I fell apart, but physically I was just frozen. But boy, oh boy, what a night it was. It just changed my perception of him in that way, because, you would think somebody who does those kinds of things would be rude or disrespectful or just vulgar, stuff like that. But no, it was the opposite. He was a nice person, a very kind person, So it was quite a 360 moment that night, and I'm never going to forget that. And to this day, I'm just so stupid I didn't know who he really was like that. But I'm glad I know now. And I'm glad I'm glad to say that he's my friend.
That's interesting, yeah.
I'm glad we know now, too, about Danny
me too.
Wilde.
Yeah,
and
10 minutes, it's 6:20, just to give
so
you time.
we're going to
have a little more time, but...
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for telling us that great story. When we do want to stop for now and make sure we get over there and make sure you get to sign up. So we're really looking forward to hearing what you're going to read. What is it called again?
Lester. Even though the page is quite faded and some of the writing is faded.
Maybe you remember the words because you wrote them?
Yes.
There we go.
Or I might improvise here and there. It's interesting with writing. Even though it says as it is, you can just put your improvisation in it. Just give it life. Because I've noticed with people they read as if there's no life. It's almost deadpan. I'm like, where's the life? Where's the character? Where's the people?
I agree.
Yeah. What kind of story is this? So you have to have character and you have to have life in it like that. So when you're reading a book, you're reading the person, you're reading the character, you're reading who they were and what they are all about and what they need and what they're going through. Stuff like that. But it's interesting stuff that just to learn the psyche of the author and the psyche of the characters, the people in it.
Well, hell yeah. Well, we want to make sure we don't miss a sign up, so we're going to stop for now. So let's head over there.
That's good.
I do want to go to front.
Yeah.
Everything's blue velvet, but quite industrial. Quite a pimp, I like it very much. Anyhow, the story I'll be reading today is Lester. We have a Chester, we have Sylvester, we got Lester. And Lester, well, he's one of them people that you work with at an office building or a grocery store or a Walmart or whatchamacallit, or a school, and he's got that promotion face, and look at that. He don't want to speak to you, but really, he's not having a good day. He's just, he just didn't have enough sleep. Anyway, the print is a little faded because of the stupid printer didn't print half the way, but I'll do my best to word for word. Anyway, so let's go. It was a Tuesday when Lester got his suite at the Hilton down the lane. 3 stars on account of cheap service from an onion-faced receptionist with a Cheshire grin saying, "Have a nice day," when it actually isn't a nice day, but just a nice way of saying, "Don't come on our pillows," to which Lester responded with an awkward grin, almost pathetic in a way, saying, "Well, I have better and worse ways of toying with my splooge elsewhere, but thanks for the Oh yes, it was a Tuesday, all right. Sure was. Lester drops his bags on the floor and makes his way to the window. Peeking his eyes through the glass, he expected to see a view of the mountains and the trees and the waves of the river ahead. But there wasn't any, but the view of a hotel building across the street. What he can see from this window is a silver and gold and green building with a neon sign with cursive lettering saying, "The Emerald Palace," towering over the river and mountains. Lester wonders if Dorothy frequents there every now and again. She probably does. Hell, she probably is being, well, gangbanged by the scarecrow and the coward's line as we speak. Now that mangy little peeping Tom Toto is having a good time watching from the comfort of his emerald pillow cushion. What a sight indeed. Lester only has an hour by himself until he's called to go to the dining hall for group therapy. He has to endure. A lady with the candy corn glasses, probably the coordinator, told him through the telephone that a specialist wants to see Lester and wants to get to know him so he's able to feel comfortable to go over his therapy. Lester's a very melancholic person. Melancholic and quite cross that he's got to fly to be in a room filled with angry, sad, lonely, sex-deprived, neurotic people such as himself, and sit with them and talk about his problems. The lady, see, I told you the faded print. The lady. All right. The lady asked Lester in group therapy. She asked him, "Okay, how?" Well, we'll just skip on that one. We'll get to the second one. Might help Lester loosen up and get some things off the chest. Okay, now I figured it out. The lady thinks that group therapy might help Lester loosen up and get some things off his chest. Okay, well, he's been acting funny lately at work concerning his co-workers. He's been drinking a lot lately, way too much. And an addict, if you will. He's been a drunken mess at work, slurring his words and becoming aggressive towards his co-workers, especially Chad, who he despises very much. He thinks Chad should burn in hell and give the devil a hand job. I guess you want me to cry, huh? Well, I don't have it in me to cry like some bitch. I'm no Hemsley bitch to cry my grievances on your shoulders. I'm just here because I have to be here. How do you want to come here at all? Let alone sit with all you people. But I mean, you're here now, Lester. It would be nice for you to open up to us and tell us why you're here. I mean, why is it that? What is your journey, brother? Don't be shy to confess it. Journey. We're here to hear you out. We won't judge you. We promise. Where do I start with this journey you speak of? For starters, there is no journey. I have no life of my own. I work a 9-to-5 job at some office building, sitting in a little cubicle, filing paperwork, faxing or printing, the whole 9 yards. It's a piece of shit job, all right. It pays well, I guess. The people suck. Nothing but hollow, selfish, vain pieces of shit. I mean, I ain't no saint either, but hey, it takes one piece of shit to know one. I don't attend church, so don't convince me of going, because I won't go. Why do I have to go to a building when the good Lord is everywhere? I mean, sometimes I want to bash their skull in with a sledgehammer and end my life there. Man, but I'm just wishfully thinking. I think it's sick, the job. No, this. I think this is sick. To make someone go and pour their hearts out and say things they don't want to say. Just because folks are a little different doesn't make them weird or a concern to society. I see it all the time, and I play a part of it as well. They talk about their virtues but never live up to their values. There's a difference between virtues and values. With virtues, the problem, the situation, if you will, well, it is talked about, bitched about, cried about, but with values, it's living up to it. I don't live up to it. I'll admit it. But hey, at least I'm frank about it. But why exactly are you here, Lester? I guess I'm here. I guess I'm here because I drink too much. And that's a problem for me. And for the people in my life, my co-workers, my mother, and my relatives. I drink because I want to. I love the thrill of it because it keeps me going and going and going until I go blotto and I have to sit in a room and pour my heart out to you people. And I know when I go back to my room, I feel numb. And I have the TV on playing a PBS program while I'm standing by the door and let the noise drown the awful silence. And then I have to go to bed and then wake up. Go to work where the awful silence, the paperwork, the fax machine, and the sheer boredom awaits me. And then there'll be a point where I overhear Chad in the break room and listen to him chat with his buddies about how he got to sleep with some gal on the front desk and goes on with the details while I eat my sandwich. And listen, I get up and leave and stand by the doorway and feel disgusted about the whole thing. And then he would go on about how he slipped his cock in her mouth and how much he enjoyed the thrill of it. And I have to listen to it and imagine myself. I can imagine myself watching her eat his cock and butt. He will leave her lying on the bed, naked, of course. Oh, keeper, let me see. Naked, of course. Now, I think. All right, that. Okay. Well, this one is a little blurry because the stupid printer didn't print that up. But I'm trying to see from the light here because it ain't my saving grace. But I'm trying my hardest to read as much as I can from this print. So naked, of course, and while he goes to the bathroom to take a piss or a shower, and the hell I care. And I watch this girl slipping her fingers between her breasts, circling it, and she feels it swelling up. All while staring at the ceiling, not knowing that I'm watching her from the closet. Debating if I should go to the bathroom and slit Chad's throat with the razor blade or choke the woman to death. But that's all in my head, wishfully thinking, not really living up to those thoughts. I know it ain't going to happen. And I know when I go back home, I'm going to go back to my loneliness like clockwork. Go to bed. Wake up for work, go to bed, wake up for work. I guess if I have to say it, then so it be. I do have a problem. I was group therapy, honey. It was all right, Mom. I mean, I did my best. I told them what I thought and what I felt. And how did that turn out? Well, let's put it this way. Nobody ate with me during break, that's for sure. Don't worry, lovey. If you can't find them, join them. But I don't want to. I don't want to join them. And I don't want to go. And I certainly don't want to go out for coffee with them or even be associated with any of them. I'm here because I drink too much. You know that. But I know you're taking the first step to get better. How proud I am that you're doing that. You don't know how happy I am to know you're getting better and soon back on your feet. You ought to lay off the sauce, Sonny. It's no good for you. You know that. You get so moody when you drink. And when you don't drink, you're emotionally numb sometimes. You don't want to end up at that court again, do you? That nasty Mr. Chad, how he spoke ill of you, spewing all them lies of you, saying that you follow him around, this lady, and that you called him a fornicator, and he said you was a sodomite, that you like to watch people behind their backs doing their own deeds while they're not looking, and he beat you up and you hit him back. That vulgar man, how could he come up with all these lies of my sweet boy, my sweet Lester? That ain't true. You could never do a thing like that. That face of yours could never do harm. I look like a potato. But you're a very sweet potato. Oh, I could just eat you up. I don't think I'm sweet. I don't feel like it. Hush it with your nonsense. What did you eat? What did you eat there? I mean, they had some clam chowder and some crackers. I drank a little grape soda on the side. It was nice, I guess. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you ate. Growing boys need their meals. Yeah, I suppose so. Listen, I gotta go. I need to call it a night and hit the hay. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? All right, honey. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Sweet dreams. God bless. Nighty-night. Lester hangs up the phone and paces back and forth in his room and makes his way to the window to look at the Emerald Palace across the street. Some of the windows have their curtains closed and some of them open. Lester is eyeing one of the windows, expecting to catch a family eating supper together, or some girl taking her top off and dressing herself in her nightgown. Thinking no one is watching, but there was not much to see from across the street. Not a soul in frame. Some of them asleep. Some folks are out and about. Instead, Lester got a view of a homeless man with a black tar for a face sleeping on a mattress out in the cold. Lester had a long day, so did the homeless man, but he's still walking the road of salvation and glory. Some people don't like the homeless man. They find him disgusting and off-color. Just another poor bum who got the short end of the stick, although they use him up for their entertainment and exploitation. Although
They don't want him around their presence, so they leave him and where they found him in the cold. And he still continues to walk the long road of salvation and glory. I mean, he's not some magic Mexican or a barbarian, but a man of his own word and keeps his word. He and Jesus Christ are best of friends, good terms. He's the only one to listen to him spew his words. Lester turns away from the window and turns the television box on, letting the noise of the PBS broadcast snuff the awful silence in the room. It's just between him and PBS. He could get late tonight, but who's going to screw a pudgy, balding feller like Lester? His life is not like HBO or Netflix or Showtime, where the odds are on his favor, or isn't. It doesn't work that way, as much as he wished it did. But he's got to live with the fact that he is past his prime, and nobody wants to screw a fatty with sagging tits. Not a very good picture indeed, is it? And not a very good picture for HBO either. All it is to Lester is just some grand glamour performance. Nothing but bullshit. Well, that was Lester. I got another story. And this one's a true story.
Okay.
Yes.
It has to be quick, though.
I'm going to be quick enough.
Make it quick, Omar. Make it quick, Omar. Okay.
Well, this story, it's about the Costco parking lot. Well, yes. It was back in 2019, and I attended a special education career transition center, and that was a while ago, so 5 years ago. And so we would go out and about off campus and do all sorts of things, and Costco would fill our worlds, get lunch and whatnot, and learn basic things, how to shop and how to speak to people, and so on and so forth. So, still hung up with Lester. So the parking lot. Pizza and sex at the Costco parking lot. Well, I once caught a couple having sexual relations in a Costco parking lot. Accidentally speaking. I mean, it's not like I was looking for it. It just happened. I mean, at the time, I was going to a special education career transition center for adults with special needs to gain skills to obtain competitive employment. So our class frequently got to go off campus and explore the community. We all decided to go to Costco for the food court. Ah, yes. I remember those days when I'd order a hot dog and a pepperoni pizza. And to drink it down was a medium-sized cup of Pepsi Cherry or Dr. Pepper. And then I eat them up and give them a big hunky-dory smile and say, "That's some good pizza." And strangers would look back with confused faces, snicker amongst each other and say, "What the hell's wrong with them?" To which the other person would chime in, "Oh, don't worry, honey, ain't nothing to see here. Don't pay them any mind. Those folks give me the creeps. They look like they're on angel dust." Those were the days. And then they would leave off with their box of inshore, bag of chips, rotisserie chicken, donuts. Well, with that combination, I wonder what their diet plan must look like. Anyhow, when it was time to go back to the van in the center, I would take my leftovers to go, wrap my pizza with tinfoil, and hit the road. To be frank, I never wanted to go back to school. I wanted to stay. A place like Costco was like being at a palace. I was over the moon. But I had to go back regardless. We all walked back to the parking lot in a big line as if we were ducklings. But from another person's perspective, we were all just plain ass ugly. It wasn't as hunky-dory as people like to flower it up to be. Anyway, I was walking behind them as we made our way to the van, and the van was located in the far back of the lot, and with a few cars packed here and there, walking and passing one car after another, watching their windows like some crazy person. I accidentally caught this skinny, dirty blonde woman placing her lips on some feller's cock, going down and sucking every inch of his confidence until he would regret it at the end of the day. I assumed with all men's egos they would be losing their man juice. That's what I heard from you two, as told by sex addicts and other weirdos. Alarming, right? And I scurried fast to catch up to the line for a fat kid at the time. I was doing a marathon. Well, when we got to the van, I was tired and breathing heavily. One student asked if I was okay. You look like you've seen the devil. To which I replied, oh no, I saw worse than that. Then we rode back to the vocational center. Looking back on it, I can't help but laugh like an old sailor. Just thinking about those people doing it in the car makes me laugh. That was also where my introduction to oral sex began, mostly at the Costco parking lot.
Omar King and the truth.
At least it gives a riff-raff place to go off the streets.
Exactly. Can't go see the cemetery. That's what I was talking about. Goes quiet.
So I'm driving back, Mr. Omar King, after a successful reading of his story, Lester. How do you think it went, Omar?
Oh, I tell you, it was a tip. I had quite a night. I'll be frank with you. I really didn't expect there to be quite the uproar and stuff like that. Everybody roaring and cheering and whatnot. I just thought, get a clap, right like that. But everybody was just lively. I brought the house down, so to speak. And I did.
I can verify. That's very true. Everybody loved it.
The destination is on your left. Arrived.
Yep.
We just arrived at Mr. Omar King's residence. I'm going to do a Yui.
Yes, the blue velvet kind of neighborhood.
It is kind of surreal.
Yes. Oh man, and even more surreal with the moonlight and the skunks.
The 2 skunks. What
Yes.
the fuck?
I know.
Which one, Omar?
The greenhouse, the little greenhouse right there. Oh man, oh man.
Is this a good spot?
It sure is, man. Man, I love that house. Been there for almost like 20 years now.
It's got blinking lights, a nice gate to protect from the outside forces.
This, all that didn't used to be there. It was all added. We all added that later on in the years because, man, we needed something new and fresh and something to give it character. And we all need character and personnel in our personal life, stuff like that. But man, God, it will always hold a special place in my heart. And thank you very much. And no matter what, my heart will belong here. Even when I die, my heart will belong here. And I will haunt the streets and the houses and I guess the Home Depot of Gardena. And, I hope to lift their spirits up with my spirit and haunt them.
Especially if you're buried at that cemetery that's right nearby.
Mm-hmm. Man, talk about ghost quiet. Halloween, you wouldn't want to... I mean, you would want to come and trick-or-treat, but it's all quiet. Like you don't know who's at their house, and if their house... Bam! They open the door and they jump scare you. So it's almost like a snake. So you got to be careful with a snake, because things that hide, you don't know where they're going to come at you.
Goddamn right. This has been Strange Flows with Mr. Omar King, and we hope to see him again soon. It was a really great night with lots of great laughs from Omar.
Thank you so much for having me, man. That was quite an evening, man. I hope to do it again sometime. I really want to do that again. It really made my night. Well, I'll see you around like a donut, and fade to black, and